question I have regards the veiling of being. And in the meditation today, you talked about how we established that there is no thinker. But then you said something that not contradicted it, but it just got me thinking, and I would hope you can give me some clarity. You then said that being takes the form of the activity of awareness, and in that process forgets itself.
Veils itself.
Yes.
Forgets itself.
Veils itself.
Yeah.
And then you talked about how thoughts can arise on behalf of the ego.
Yes.
But we established that the ego doesn't exist except for in this veiling capacity. So I was pondering this, and what I came up with was that thoughts are coming from the only place they can come from, which is awareness. And therefore, if awareness is veiled, thoughts are therefore coming from a veiled sense of awareness, i.e. the ego.
Yes.
So therefore, when we unveil the awareness, that's why our thoughts inevitably will change, because they will mirror the wisdom, or whatever you want to call it, of awareness.
Yes.
So have I just answered my own question?
Sounds like it. Yeah. I mean, your analysis is
that
correct.
okay?
Yes. Yeah.
Good, because I think today's meditation was so valuable because I could see for the first time, because I couldn't work it out. There's no thinker. I mean, it just always bemused me. But when we went back to see, well, where is the thinker? And then there is no thinker.
Yes.
Then I was able to sort of formulate it a bit better.
Yeah. No, your analysis is correct, Simon. There's no thinker, but there are thoughts.
Exactly.
And the thoughts can arise, basically, there are two possibilities. Either thoughts arise on the belief and feeling of being a separate self. There's still no separate self there, but there can be the belief and feeling. Remember, the ego is not an entity. It is an activity of thinking and feeling. So either thoughts can arise on behalf of the belief and feeling of being a separate self, or if that belief and feeling is not present, the thoughts will arise on behalf of the qualities that are inherent in awareness.
Right. Yeah, exactly, because then awareness is no longer veiled, and as before, the thoughts were arising on behalf of awareness, but a veiled form of awareness, and therefore
we could say all thoughts ultimately come from awareness, but some category of thoughts are filtered through the belief in separation, and some thoughts just arise on behalf of awareness without being filtered through the belief of separation.
Right.
For instance, let's relate this to feelings. If we say the nature of awareness is in relation to feelings, we could call it love. All feelings ultimately arise from love and are an expression of love. But when love is filtered through the sense of separation, it comes out as hatred. So the stuff that hatred is made of is still love. The only stuff it can be made out of, the only stuff there is love or consciousness or spirit. If there's no sense of separation, that love just expresses itself.
Yes.
But if it's filtered through a thick layer, a thick belief and feeling of separation, the same love will come out the other side of that feeling as hatred and express itself as such.
Yes, because of the illusion of separation, and therefore
the
animosity and conflict.
The illusion of separation will muddy the love, distort the love, and it will come out as hatred.
And because awareness is free, it's free to create its form in whatever direction it chooses, i.e. it's free enough that it can choose to veil itself.
No, awareness doesn't choose to veil itself. When awareness localizes itself in the form of a finite mind, as an inevitable as an almost inevitable consequence of that localizing of itself, it overlooks its nature. It overlooks its infinite nature because it's localized itself as a finite mind. So the overlooking of its nature is not something it chooses. It is just the price it inevitably pays for localizing itself as a finite mind.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you. So it believes its senses, basically. It believes its thoughts and its perceptions because that's the nature of the localization.
Yes, it has localized itself as the finite mind. It then sees and knows everything from the perspective of that finite mind. And the finite mind, Jane, tends to believe what her senses and her thoughts tell her.
Exactly. Thank you. That's very, very helpful.